We have gone through evolving years, and each year we have witnessed a change in attitude of people throughout the treatment of child. We have seen a lot of awareness surrounding protection of child rights and mistreatment of child. So, good morning everyone. Today I Rohit Shaw. I'm here to talk about a very sensitive topic which is child abuse. Child abuse is stated as any act that might cause any potential harm to the children. It can be stated as sexual, psychological maltreatment, physical or neglect of any child or children. As per World Health Organization, we have got clear classifications for various types of child abuse. First is physical abuse, any use of physical force that might result in harm for a child's health, survival, development, or dignity. Second thing, which can be associated with child abuse, is sexual abuse. Any participation of a child in sexual act aiming to exploit the child, indecent exposure of genitals to a child, display of porn films to a child, actual contact with the child, or any usage of child for child pornography. We cannot always limit the abuse to physical abuse, but also any psychological harm or harm should be included. In fact, that is the most challenging kind of abuse which we all have to handle. Another aspect of abuse can be neglect, any failure of responsibility for the child to provide any kind of basic needs, which will lead to harm for any child, are included in this section of neglect. It can be further subdivided into many parts, such as medical neglect, emotional neglect, and many more. Things which can be done to prevent this phenomenon is a proper reporting structure for the same. Appropriate counseling can also be given to the parents before they take up responsibility of being a parent. Thank you, everyone.
What do you all think about bullying? Can it be just my bad words? Or can it be done by face to face posting bad remarks? No, it's not the case. Indeed, the case is that bullying is not only limited to passing bad remarks on face, but it can be done in a digital sphere as well. Hello everyone. Today I'm here to present in front of you my views about the topic cyberbullying. Harassment, which can be done by using electronic means, can be stated to be cyberbullying. It's becoming increasingly common as the technology advanced. It can be done on internet, any of the digital spaces, or social media sites. We can state it to be simply as an extension of medium to bully. The thing which is lacking in this case is awareness. Proper learning and awareness campaigns should be done in order to make people learn about these things. But it has been seen in recent times that there has been an increasing trend in the awareness in US because of the high profile cases. Many laws have also been passed to combat it. Many of them are targeted and others come from scopes other than this. But still, not all iterations which can be stated to be negative can be attributed to cyberbullying. So, we must be completely aware of the thin line which might be there. Many forms of cyberbully exist, including cyberstalking and hate rates. It generally involves repeated behavior with an intention to harm. The complexity of the things can be varying. Through it, it can be as simple as sending emails, or it can be as harmful as threats and degrading remarks and statements which can hurt others. To sum up, awareness is the only key and to end this kind of issue, which is cyberbullying. Thank you.
We often see little children working in tea stalls and dhabas, but we tend to ignore them. Is it really our recollections, or are we okay with children working in such places? Well, hello. My name is Ashvin Goyal, and I am going to speak about the topic child labor. Let us first understand what child labor is. Any exploitation of child in form of work that impacts his basic rights is child labor. Nations have formulated several laws to tackle this menace, but most of them have failed. It is important to note that in the most important affected nations are the developing nations and the poor nations. And there has been a report that states that around 1 in 4 children have been working as a child labor in the poorest countries. Indian government is doing its part to check this problem and has introduced several measures via acts and constitution. Some of these are as follows. According to the Article 23 of our Indian Constitution, any type of forced labor is prohibited. The Article 24 states that child under 14 years cannot be employed to perform any hazardous work. The Article 39 states that tender age of children are not abused and that the citizens are not forced by economic necessity to enter into vocation that's unsuited for that age or strength. In the same manner, the law of Child Labor Act, Prohibition and Regulation 1986 prohibits children under the age of 14 years to be working in the hazardous industries and processes. Policy interventions such as the Manrega and the Right to Education Act both tend to make the children be in schools, and along with it, they also guarantee a minimum wage for the rural families. But India has to cover a long road. The Census of India 2011 report that 10.1 million working children in the age group of 5 to 14 years, out of which 8.1 million are rural and they are mainly engaged as cultivators and agricultural laborers. So, after getting to know all the problems that the child labor phase has, so what is the solution to this? First of all, the main solution to this is the role of panchayat. As 80% of the child labor in India emanates from the rural areas, the panchayat can play a dominant role in mitigating the child labor. It can generate awareness and encourage parents to send their children to school. It can also create a positive environment and ensure that children have sufficient facilities available in school. It can inform industry owners about the laws prohibiting child labor and also about the penalties of violating them. We have to follow an integrated approach. Strengthen child protection systems along with addressing the poverty and also improve the access of education to the children. With the implementation of above measures, I believe that India and the world as a whole can achieve freedom from the menace of child labor. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Siddik Anshad. Education crisis in rural India. 70% of Indian population live in villages. They have got just the basic infrastructure around them. Luckily, education is also one among them. All they have is limited number of common schools with inadequate facilities and faculties. Due to the lack of resource and limited learning opportunities, rural areas always pose a threat for the aspiring students over there. Rural students have to cover a long distance on foot to attend the classes. This situation often demotivates them to attend the school regularly. Once reached to the school after so much of difficulties, they don't have access to proper classrooms, playgrounds, and even basic needs like electricity, toilets, and even drinking water facilities. Moreover, these kids come from a poor family with low income, which isn't enough for feeding a family of 3 or 4. They are asked by their families to work and earn more to help the family in making extra income instead of going to the school. Parents tend to see education as an expense rather than an investment. But in rare of the rarest cases, the students are asked to study, hoping that the kid will learn and pave a way for a better living for his family. But again, there is no good platform for the child to get a good education. Non-availability of enough teachers is also a problem, along with the lack of funding and resources in the village schools. Motivated students with great potential are left helpless with no one to guide them. At times, a school could have most of two teachers trying to teach the children of all five primary classes. Most of the kids are the first generation learners who come from illiterate families. Such students don't get any kind of assistance from their parents. They have to single handedly grapple with the school life. There are few unlucky kids who are not even allowed to go to the schools, especially the rural girls. They are not even allowed to move out of their hometown for higher studies. Whatever the basic education children are getting in the rural schools are not following a good system. The minds of these students are not cultivated. For most of them, education is reading the books and memorizing the concepts, even today. The government has implemented schemes like Learning for All, but it has completely missed on what constitutes learning for all. Greater emphasis is placed on building more and more educational institutions, but the government is totally missing on what is already happening inside the already established schools. There is a very high enrollment rate, but at the same time, an equally high dropout rates. Exams are mandatory. Due to the poor learning experience, the students tend to fail on these exams, and when asked to repeat these students ultimately give up the hope and leave the schools. Coming to the digital trend, education is a technology prone nowadays. Students should be apt with the technology for a normal learning experience. Again, the rural kids suffer here. No network, not able to afford a smartphone or a laptop, and many more problems. This again creates a barrier in the rural education system. There are many more problems in the rural education system. The literacy rate in India is 78%, but there is a huge difference between the literacy rate of urban and the rural Indians. Adapting measures like encouraging free education, adding more and more schools with adequate facilities, adapting newer technologies, providing financial aids like scholarships, motivating the students by providing playgrounds and other facilities in the school, etc., could be done to start improving the rural education. As Nelson Mandela said, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. The rural population definitely deserves such an empowerment. Thank you.